What's going on, world? This is D100 TV, and today I'm here with my special guest co-host. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and let him introduce himself. Go ahead, good brother.
How's everybody doing? My name's Sabir. It's been Henry, man. Yeah, I'm in the chair. I'm in the chair. You know what I mean?
He in the chair. He in the truck, being a
Yeah.
successful truck. Salute to all the truckers, man. Salute to all the truck drivers. If you
Big boy
don't
trucker
know,
life.
there's a couple positions. If they go down, we in trouble. Truckers is one of them. Shout out to
It's
the
a fact.
garbage men. Shout out to a couple of the unsung heroes.
We
Um,
saluting them. We saluting them. Big salute.
true, true indeed.
Mm.
Getting straight into it. You and I, similar backgrounds. If they know my story, they've been watching this content, they know that I was incarcerated. You have
True.
been incarcerated as well. Can you just give us briefly how many years, the state, and maybe some of the prisons or anything you might want to touch on just real quick as far as your penitentiary time?
All right. I think I was just getting ready to turn 22. I caught an armed robbery case. Uh, I got sentenced to 12 and a half years, and I served 11 years of that, all in the state of Virginia. I was living in the city of Norfolk, Virginia, when I caught my case or whatever. And I went to four, excluding reception. I mean, I went to four prisons while I was doing my time. And me and you bumped into each other on St. Bride's in Chesapeake, Virginia.
Indeed. And when he was talking about reception, that's just basically where they go to their class and send you
Yeah,
to
that's
basically
it.
figure out, through a
Yeah, I went.
series of questions, etc.
Yeah. True.
Yep, where they're
Yeah, I
gonna
went to
send
deep meadows for there.
you want to deep meadows.
Yeah,
Let me ask you real quick before I get into it, just because I like to ask people this question.
no
Is
problem.
there one moment that stuck out to you more than any other? It doesn't have to necessarily be a crazy moment. It could be something you were going through, whatever it is that stuck out to you as far as prison that made you say, you know what, this is not for me.
That's a good question. I'm a thinker, so in reality, it's a lot of stuff. But we're not here to, this ain't a therapy session, so we're not gonna be talking for hours and hours. But you tired, I'm tired, But um, the trends, of the situation in general. In jail, the trend was everybody come in there. I was on the seventh floor of Norfolk City Jail. They call it 811 because the address is 811. So that's what it's more commonly known as. Everybody on the floor, 10 years or better. You know what I mean? Like off the rip. Everybody on the floor, didn't matter how old you was, how young, whatever. Um, you leave in, you come in a young man, you leave out with gray hairs. Um, it was just really sad, to be honest with you, man, to see uh the people that I seen in there, because it's a trend. You know what I mean? Like it's particular types of individuals. It don't matter what city you come from, what state you come from, everybody got the same mindset, into the same stuff. I bumped into guys I went to school with. They in this, we know each other. So you know how I was, I know how you was, and look where we at. You know what I mean?
You know
So
what's crazy? I don't know if you can relate to this. I was an outsider technically. I'm from Chicago, right? Um, I could tell where a guy was from just based on how he moved and how he talked. I knew when a guy was from Richmond. I knew
that's
when a guy was
hilarious.
from Portsmouth. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
knew when a guy was from Newport News. You know what I'm saying? As they said. So I mean, did you experience that, or how did you see the people? Because you kind of really you said something along the line, but I don't know if that's what you're saying.
Uh well, I'm originally from Buffalo, New York. So even though I got history in Virginia, them dudes didn't treat me like I'm from Virginia, because in reality I'm not. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So as a matter of fact, to be exact, they called me Buffalo in the jail. You know what I mean? Everybody called me
Mhm.
Buffalo, yo, Buffalo, Bilo, whatever. So yeah, you could definitely tell who was from where, based off of the slang they use, or you know what I mean, their demeanor, how they speak. You know what I mean, like a lot of dudes from Virginia Beach. Just for an example, they kind of got like the roster vibe. A lot of them in the reggae, stuff like that. I mean,
All
yeah.
right. So I'm gonna do something I haven't done with any of my guests so far. I'm gonna do basically I'm gonna say a word, and
Okay.
I want you to tell me the first thought that's attached to that word.
All right.
All right. It could be a phrase or it could be one word, whatever you want, right? Um, judge.
Unfair at times.
That's a fair statement, no pun
Yeah.
intended.
Yeah. Real talk.
um, prison cell.
Countless thoughts.
I can definitely.
It's like watching a movie for me in my head while you're sitting in there. I mean,
What was the show back in the day? People might not remember. I think it was like Quantum Leap or something. And it was always this scene. I don't know what the exact show was. It was this scene where he was watching everything go on around him.
mm-hmm.
You as if he was in between I guess different times. I don't know what it is, right? How to put but that's kind of how I felt. I felt
Yeah.
like there was a part of me that was still attached to the past, trying to hang on to that. And then there was a part of me that was trying to envision or write the future. I was always trying to escape the now. Um, throw one more out there. Time.
The reception broke up. Can you say the word again?
Time.
Time. Mm. Time is something that you can't get back. You know what I mean? Use it wisely or let it go to waste.
I agree. Most
Mm.
valuable thing you ever had, for real.
Facts.
So I want to get into some things. We were talking yesterday, I believe. I think it was yesterday, if not the day before, because it's been a
Mm-hmm.
crazy days. Um, we were speaking about basically crime and punishment. Us being two guys that have went through the prison system. Um, I'm I don't know if you're like me, or you probably are. Hey, I'm gonna hold myself accountable. But when it comes to paying my debt to society, when does it stop?
Yeah, this stuff ain't this not right, man.
Can you
Stuff
give me
ain't
some
justice, man.
like why did that come to mind when I was like, you just started chopping up, you're going in on that. Like what made that come to mind?
Well, it's actually a statement that I've made numerous times, man. Uh, you do what you do to go to jail. You got to go to jail. It is what it is. So you got time to do. Then you got fines to pay for some, not all guys. Then you got post-release supervision. Then the stigma of being a felon, it affects the job. You know what I mean? What kind of job you can get and stuff like that, where you can live. Uh, the discrimination, man, that you experience when you come home, it's like none other. Like we got to go 5 to 10 times harder, man, than everybody else, because it's like society makes you feel like you got to prove yourself to be amongst everybody else. You know what I mean? As a sidebar, in Virginia, it's not like in the feds, like you know what I mean? Like the reentry program was a beautiful thing. Don't get me wrong. If you want, we can elaborate a little bit more on that if need be. But it gave guys like myself. I'm gonna use myself. I'm not gonna use anybody else for an example. Some tools that I actually used when I came home. Having the ID, having the social security card,
I
having a
just
birth
said that
certificate. Yeah,
saving
it helped out a whole lot. Doing the mock interviews, uh, you know, teaching you how to do a resume, stuff like that. All of that stuff helped. Getting that grant to go to school, that's how I'm doing what I'm doing now. I utilized the Pell Grant that I got through the FAFSA. I never knew nothing about that. I didn't even know that we qualified for stuff like that, being in jail. You think you're in jail, you just scum of the earth. Nobody's going to do nothing for you, whatever, whatever. However, on the flip, very unprepared in a lot of different ways. They allowed us to use computers, but there was no internet. I'd never seen Google before. I didn't know how to fill out an application. It used to take me 2 hours to fill out an application. You know what I mean?
So
My resume looked real.
Let me stop you right there, right? So we're talking about, and I'm gonna tie it in because it's definitely the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
One of the punishments that that happens to you, that occurs when you're incarcerated, I feel it's a punishment, is you don't have access to the internet. You don't have access. You just spoke on the fact that we were in reentry, we were able to have certain things. That the things we were able to have access to in reentry, which is basically, it was a program dedicated to those that are getting ready to go home within 12 months, usually. Those were not available to us when we first got locked up. To put things in perspective, when you got released, if all you had was $25, which is all they were making you save at the time, and if you had an ID, that's what you were going home with, and they weren't concerned with where you were going home with. They just needed to know where you're dropping you off, how you were leaving. Now it's different. They make you get an ID. They make you get a birth certificate, social security card. They make you save up to $1,000 if you got enough time. Hopefully, you don't have enough time behind those bars. But there's certain things in place. And I remember guys used to complain about that, at least where I was at. Were guys complaining about those things, having to save money?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I seen the wisdom in it, though. You know what I mean? Like, especially making us, you know what I mean? The fines thing, paying the fines, that's a different story in itself, as I'm sure you already know. But yeah, man, that helped out a whole lot, man. You mean, like, I didn't have nothing but like $600, $700 or something like that, phone and things that I needed when I came out the gate. I was able to get, you know what I mean, without asking nobody, or that stuff helped out a whole lot.
Definitely. One of the things that kind of hindered me, I was gone for 17. Before I got locked up, there was no social media. They were barely texting. I know it was definitely probably a little bit different. May not have been for you, but we didn't have that. When I came home, I got thrown straight into this world where there was social. I remember going from a 13-inch flat screen to my wife had bought me for my birthday, I believe, a 55-inch, and there was different apps, and I can go on YouTube and look up information. Did that type of stuff, when you came home, being deprived one moment and then getting thrust into a place where you had nothing but information, access to it, did that cause a shock on you, or were you grateful? Or did you got consumed with that and social media, or how did that all work as far as coming back in?
Coming out the gate, I didn't want to do the social media thing. You know what I mean? Just because we was younger, like that just wasn't something that we did. You know what I mean? Taking pictures and doing all that. We didn't do that stuff. But I didn't get into it until I kept my sister and my brothers kept coming to me like, yo, such and such want to talk to you. So I'm like, in my mind, how they see me? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I had to have it explained to me or shown to me. And then, people kept asking, yo, I want to talk to your brother. And I kept getting my sister's phone. So I said, I'm gonna just do my own Facebook. Show me how to do this. So I can interact with people. Cause you in prison. I had certain people that I spoke to, but I didn't, majority of the people that I knew, like, they didn't, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know people in different states and everybody wasn't hitting up. You know what I mean? Not that I was pressed about connecting with everybody, but it was good to see people I hadn't seen in 15, some people longer than that. You know what I mean? So, but the technology thing, it was definitely a challenge. Cause I didn't have nobody with me to hold my hand and show me how to do everything. I had to figure it out on my own. And it was frustrating. I'm gonna be honest. You mean?
Mm.
It's very frustrating.
What year did you come home?
I came home the end of July 2016. Never forget the date. 26th of 2016.
So
Yeah.
you went home from the brides, correct?
Yeah.
Same.
I went came home with St. Bride, yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
all right. So I want to talk about now. It's 2022. It's years later.
Uh-huh.
Do you? Well, no. Let me ask you first. This: when you first came home, was there anything that you brought home with you? Any, um, whatever. Any type of. Did you wear your shower shoes? Shower like brought home with you from prison? Bring your tumbler, your cup from the like any type of like mentality. What was that when you first?
Well, you mean like that's actually a two-part question, but I'm gonna give it to you in parts. I
Okay.
still got the laundry bag, or the commissary bag. I still got that bag. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's a
I
very
seen you.
good laundry bag. That's what I use it for, laundry. I brought my
I'm
books out.
gonna go to Dollar Tree and I'm gonna get you a laundry bag.
That's
And I'm gonna
hilarious.
no, but no. I remember guys used to say don't bring nothing home, but we're not superstitious. But I remember guys used
No,
to say
not
that.
at all.
Yeah,
Yeah, not at all. Yeah, I
yeah.
brought I brought my laundry bag out. I brought a lot. I had a lot of books and on the phone book, and you know what I mean, notes and stuff that I took down. I I gave everything else away. Oh, and I had to take the TV with me. I refused to, how that little bit of money we was making in there. I refused to let I had the big joint. I had the bubble eye joint to just let them throw that away because I worked and saved up to buy that TV. You get what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So like that, I was like, no, I'm not just gonna just get that to you. I work and save my bread. If I can't leave it who I want to leave it to, I'm gonna take it home. Simple. You know what
They had
I
a
mean?
TV program where I was at.
So they had a what?
A TV program where you could leave your TV and then, but they were giving it to the jailhouse informants, the TVs.
Yeah, see, I ain't like that. Somebody just
Prominent.
said they got a
He said he
JP5.
still got his 85.
That's
You want to tell
that's all
somebody
right.
what 5 is, or you want me to tell them?
No, you go ahead, because I didn't have one. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay. Oh,
Yeah, yeah, I didn't
so
have one.
I apologize. So a JP5 was basically a tablet, but it weighed like the weight of a brick. You really couldn't do anything with it. You could download music that you could order off the kiosk, but each song was like $1.99. Um, and then you could buy these games that, I mean, they were cool because you were incarcerated, so it could take your mind, but they were simple. Um, and they broke like every 3 seconds. I had like
Yeah,
20 of them. They broke on the
that's
first day.
crazy,
Yeah,
crazy.
guys
You,
used
you
to
know,
fight kiosk, and it was
yeah.
ugly. Yeah.
You know what's
So I want
crazy?
to.
Not that I'm trying to glorify being in prison. Make no mistake, for the people that's watching and that's gonna
Yeah,
see
yeah.
this, I will never glamorize or glorify being incarcerated. I don't know why these rappers and these movie stars depict this image like being in jail is like a rite of passage. Like you're supposed to go to jail. Man, listen, it ain't what
Oh
it, man.
no.
Listen, it ain't no place you want to be at. I don't care what level it is or what state it is. You mean? But in the feds, they can make phone calls off their joints. You know what I
Right.
mean? And do video visits. Now look, imagine this life. Imagine how different the atmosphere in the block would have been if
That
you didn't
is
have to do the phone thing. You just get on your joint, make your phone call. You can video visit your people like, yo, what's up? Yeah, I'm in the block. This is my man, such and such. You get to interact with your family and stuff like that. Imagine how different it would have been.
at
Virginia
some
didn't want it like that though. You know what I mean?
at at some jails in Virginia, they give you your tablets. You can call off them. You can watch movies. You can video visit. That's in the jails.
Come
But
on,
and
man.
this has been going on for years.
That's
And
crazy, bro.
guys are getting unalived. Well, not every day, but every year. We can safely say that over the phones, or at least
It's
guys are
crazy.
getting stabbed a few times out the year. You know, It could be an easy fix, but that's another, that's another hole right there that needs to be fixed, another
No
flaw.
doubt. No doubt.
Let me ask you some more questions. What I remember, so I'm at the school. I'm there. I'm in my principal mode, Mr. Chris. And instead of student lounge, I said, "Hey, they're in the chow hall."
Mm.
And one of my students, she looks up and starts laughing. She doesn't say anything. Like
She caught it though.
5 minutes
Yeah.
later, she comes in the office,
Yeah.
and you're not supposed to have favorite students, and I'm not saying that, but if I did,
Yeah.
uh, and she came in, she said, "Hey, it's okay. Everybody already knows. They seen your social media." So, but I had a moment though when I said it, I was like, and then I looked and she caught it. I was like, but did you have it? Have you ever had any of those moments? Did you take any? Did you? Are you the guy that got to sit with your back against the wall? Anything like that?
I I did for. I mean, I'm gonna be real with you. Like certain things that I did in prison, I still do to this day.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the stuff that you know you I personally I don't feel like how some people be like you just saying earlier, don't take stuff home with you and stuff like that. Just
Mm-hmm.
because you learn something in prison does not mean it's necessarily a bad thing. You know what I
Facts.
mean? Like some of my best friends is dudes I did time with, bro. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? I still talk to this day. So I just personally I feel like, the level of respect for men for each other is a lot higher. So it's certain things that I'm just not gonna participate in. Certain things like you mean like the slang I don't really like I don't call the shower the box or nothing like that. It ain't like that. I don't gotta play the wall all the time, but I am extra super observant. You know what I mean? Like can't help
I am. I am too.
it. Yeah.
I don't.
And I
I
listen
don't.
very well too.
Yeah. I'm probably hyper observant. Um. I'm probably annoyingly observant. And then another thing I know, I didn't really take anything with me as far as like, what I'm saying, habits. But I notice if I'm not in a room, I like that door closed.
Mm,
I don't I think it's with me it's about vantage point, if that makes sense. Like I
absolutely.
don't I don't know. Maybe I'll figure it out one day. It's not, it annoys my wife sometimes, but she's a good sport. Um
That's a fact.
Yeah, he said it's all about how you use it. I agree. I agree, man. It's all about how you use. It doesn't matter where you're at. It's just is it knowledge or is it good knowledge? Is it truth? Is it something that
Indeed.
can be applied? Is it wisdom?
Indeed.
Or you know,
Indeed.
um, moving on along. So, do you have moments to this day, years later, it's 2022, where you feel, or do you ever feel out of place, or do you feel awkward in society? Do you feel like, man, or do you ever have moments like that?
Yeah. I still do to this day. The reality, um, it's okay not to fit in and everything. Certain things about society I don't like. Just being honest. I don't like the way people talk to each other out here. You know what I mean? Uh, calling each other out their name, and I don't like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause in the joint, like dudes talk to each other with a more of a level of respect. You know what I mean? Like certain
Hmm.
stuff it's cool that I don't fit in with certain things. You know what I mean? That's just me. I mean, I ain't trying to fit into everything neither though. You feel me?
Definitely. Do you feel like people are more angry in prison or more angry out here present day? I
In
asked somebody,
society.
you think they're angry out here in society?
Yeah.
Can you explain?
I think,
Can I believe something? Because when you say that to somebody, they'll never believe it unless they've
yeah,
been where we.
yeah. Um, I think people when like prison makes you, and again, I'm not glorifying prison, by the way. I'm gonna continue to say that. Prison
Okay.
makes you deal with the reality of whatever the affair is. You know what I mean? Like you can't lie to yourself and say, "Oh, I got 40 years. I'm gonna be home in 5. You don't know. So, like you learn that, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, it just makes you accept things for what they really are. You know what I mean? Like, instead of looking at it like, not saying you're not optimistic, but if it doesn't happen, I'm not gonna cry about it. You get what I'm saying? Uh I don't really know how to explain that for real, man. Like, people might not be mad out here. They just, I seen a lot of angry guys in there too, but I don't know. It just seems like everybody just, I don't know, man. It's hard to put a finger on it. Like, I be chilling, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I think it's anxiety. I think it is anger. I think it's substance abuse. I think it's a lot of unchecked mental health issues. Uh,
yeah,
I think I think we're seeing it magnified after COVID, when people
yeah, oh yeah,
houses, shut society was shut down. They were forced to deal with some thoughts they probably been avoiding,
hmm
uh, and now people are and it's just starting to come to the head. Violence is at an all-time high. It's a weird thought. I promise you, this is gonna sound crazy. I thought yesterday, I said, was I safer in prison? You know, yo,
yeah,
that's crazy, right? And
yeah, yeah,
I Atlanta, and God forbid, you know what I'm saying? But they kick doors down here, and they rob and they carjack,
yeah.
you know,
I heard.
and I drive a vehicle, and that's not, but that they might, my wife doesn't even like drive. So it's I don't like that. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah,
There was a time in prison where I wasn't like, that's just being honest. I was
yeah.
observant, but for me, 10 years in, 11, 12, like I know what's
You're
going on.
better. Yeah,
You,
yeah.
I
You can feel it though.
right, and
Yeah,
so it's now I'm out here. I'm in a situation, and I'm just like, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? Like I'm still trying to figure out what's going on with just everything, with society, with everything as a whole. But I just feel like it's that for me to make the statement and to say, was I safer in prison? Because I live in a pretty decent area, but if you drive, far enough, just like
oh,
anywhere
yeah.
in Atlanta,
It's turned.
you're
Yeah, it's
gonna run.
turned out there. It's
Yeah.
turned out there.
So, you know, and again, I remember nights in a dorm
Yeah,
where I slept peaceful.
yeah,
I'm just, not that I wanted to be there, but I'm not gonna toss and turn if I don't have to. Um, so that's a weird statement, but I'm gonna throw that out there. Let
yeah.
me ask you this though, real question,
Talk to me.
because you said I can ask you anything.
Anything, it don't matter.
Earlier on a phone call, I was like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Because you're in the truck,
Hmm.
and you, hey, don't let no, I forgot what you said, but you're like, it's a prison cell on wheels.
It is.
Do
That's
you
how I
feel
really.
Do you feel a part of you chose that occupation? I gotta ask. It's a random thought.
Mm-mm.
It just no. Okay.
Nah. I'm
So
gonna be real with you. Like,
all that trucker money.
trucker, I'm gonna tell you this is real talk, bro. I'm glad you asked. That's a good question too, by the way. I got a brother, man. One of my Muslim brothers. His name is Hisham Cowell. Good brother. I come home, bro. Like I told you earlier, my resume looked real good. And I got a positive attitude. I know how to talk to, people and stuff. I know how to talk to different types of people. I remember one week, man, I had 4 job interviews, like 4 in one
Mm-hmm.
week. I didn't get a job. I didn't get that one job, bro. I'm talking about jobs people don't want to do. So my man Hisham, he took he we was at one of our brother's house. We was, it was like we was having a big meal. Everybody was over there eating. We just slaughtered some lamb. It was good. We smashed it. I'm a little down. Cause I'm like, I come out the gate with this positive mindset, like, yo, I want to do this, I want to do that. And I'm getting door after door slammed in my face. So long story short, he in the house, he do moving in the box truck over the road. And it's funny because he actually lived down there in Georgia, close to where he used to. You know what I mean? Uh, But he
Oh, sir.
yeah, yeah. He started he asked me did I want to go out there with him, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, because I was willing to do anything, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I didn't put this on the book because I wasn't supposed to be traveling. I was on paper. I ain't on paper now, so I can talk about it now. You know what I mean? Sorry about that, my XPO. Sorry about that, but I'm just being real. It is what it is. Brother was broke. You know what I mean? I'm a
And
grown man. I ain't had no money. I
and
wasn't doing nothing bad though. But
this is for
anyway,
education purposes, all
yeah.
education.
uh, and going out, truck stops, we doing jobs in different states, and I'm meeting truckers and starting to become accustomed to being on the road. And them boys I'm like, yo, they make a lot of freaking money, man. Every dude I see they strapped. So in
All right.
reality, my circumstances, like any other brother who've been to jail, put you in the truck because the amount of money you can make in trucking is way more than what you're gonna get working in somebody's warehouse or whatever type. You know what I mean? Like it's like even if you got a skilled trade, you don't get what the other guys get, and you got to
Mm-hmm.
do more work. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what put me in the truck. It wasn't, what I mean, like I didn't want to do this. What's bro name? They call him Bones from Portsmouth, skinny dude. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
He used to tell us all the time when we were still at St. Bride's in the reentry program, yo, get your CDL. I'm like, bro, at the time, like I was, man, you know what I mean? I'm like, bro, I'm not driving nobody's truck, bro. You crazy.
Yeah. Now,
I'm not driving no truck.
you ain't stopped driving.
I'm a big boy trucker now, man. I've been driving almost 4 years now, man. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, been to every state. The job has its ups and downs, but in reality, like, yo, just like being in the, you know what I mean? I got a little fridge and it's like being in the cell. Just
Let me
make money
ask you.
with it.
I'm not gonna veer back. I'm gonna come back around, but we on the subject. And again,
No doubt.
salute to the people that want to get into the CDL trade. Right?
No
Is
doubt.
it is it hard to form and relationships with people or maintain relationships being a trucker? Because I forgot. I know one buddy of mine. He said he's gone more days than he is present.
Yeah.
I don't know how
It,
it is for you. Schedule looks
yeah,
like, but
it is. It's being out here, it's a lonely occupation. I'm if this makes sense, the isolation doesn't bother me, but it's not what I want, if that makes sense.
makes
Like
total sense. Like being
I
locked up.
yeah, man, I would much rather, what I mean, get up every day, wife, kids, you know what I mean, be able to enjoy things. Cause I did it, what I mean, I didn't do as long as you did, but bro, I was 22. I come home 34 or just turned 35, man. Like, and
Time
then
to
now
shine.
I'm out here, I'm 40 and I'm still just me. You know what I mean? So it definitely does. Other people might tell you something different, but I'm just speaking. You asked me, so I'm telling you how I feel. I do. It definitely does. And I done actually lost some of my companions because I can't talk all the time, and I can't talk to this is exhausting. I'm shifting all day, dealing with traffic, dealing with brokers,
I couldn't
shippers, and
imagine.
receivers. You know what I
I
mean?
trying to navigate one of them semis down 285 here in Atlanta.
Yeah, it's but
Man.
it's opportunity for something greater later too, though.
Yeah,
Man,
no.
so
I bet. Hey, the two fastest growing sectors right now is the trucking and beauty industry. And the beauty industry, I think, is the fastest growing at 19%. Trucking industry somewhere, but you can't lose. So hey, men, women, whoever, if you're coming
yeah,
home, you got options. You
yeah,
got options. I
absolutely.
spoke about the forklift thing earlier, but if you can get your CDL, Class B, Class A, whatever it is,
Whatever,
hey, might not be a bad look because that's a good way to provide for yourself. Um,
absolutely.
I want to steer back into what you were speaking on. We're speaking a little bit about what you're doing right now, but going back to the job thing, the first
Okay.
interview too was for a reach truck operator position or standing forklift operator.
Mhm.
Been locked up 17 years. I want a job. Mind you, I was still scared to drive, and when I had to drive, I almost killed myself like 17 times.
Me too.
I
Yeah.
accident days, but I was going to drive. But at this
Yeah.
particular moment,
Yeah.
my wife had drove me to the interview. But I remember the night before, I had watched a YouTube video, and in my mind, I was going to be able to operate this reach truck, this forklift, right?
Hmm.
Uh, so I go to the interview. I hop on this reach truck. Never been on a reach truck in my life. Been on a sit down. I start going in circles. I run into the wall. It's ugly. Come out, get in the car. I sit down. I look at my wife. Tears start falling because as a man, I want to
Oh,
be able
you
to
was
provide.
fine.
Yeah, me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, I'm keeping real. I'm 100.
Yeah,
But the
I
reason
can understand
was
that.
because it was just a shock to the system.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had I hadn't been home maybe 2 weeks. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? And with everything, I want to be able to get a check because I
Yeah,
never wanted to
absolutely.
be that guy. I came home with a wife. My situation was different, but I did not want to be the guy on the couch, even though my wife was faithful.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
you probably didn't have no moment like that. You probably didn't have no, but any moments in the job process where somebody made you feel uncomfortable with a question, or because I've had moments where somebody asked me about my crime, like I've had weird moments with interviews and stuff. Is there anything that was frustrating in the process aside from the fact you just didn't get those jobs off the bat?
Um, you know, one thing about people got a tendency to judge books by covers, right? So I'm very adamant, like, yo, don't group judge me. You want to know something about me, you ask me. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? I've actually had a conversation with one of my relatives. You know, there's, the known stereotype about men that been in jail. They automatically think, oh, you've been locked up. And I'm talking about, bro, I get so furious with that. Like, that joint used to piss me off something
I
terrible.
have I have not been approached with that, but doing the internet thing, the troll, especially on the TikTok, and
Oh, yeah.
I'm not occasionally up here. It's just social media, but the first two times I was like, and then but after that, it's whatever, man.
Yeah.
You know. So, um, let me ask you this real quick. You were gone for 12 years, 11 and some change.
Mhm.
Did you feel like there was a gap when you came home? Did you feel like you were 11 and some change years behind, 12 years behind, or did you feel like pretty
I still do.
quickly still
Nah,
do?
I still do. Um, the reality, one of one of the main things that stood out to me, I'm 35 when I get out. When I'm having conversations with people that's my age and older, I noticed it immediately. Mentally, I'm behind you. You know what I mean? Because not that I'm stuck at 22, because I educated myself. You know what I mean? Like, I worked on myself while I was in prison. I wasn't just in there I don't drink, I don't smoke. You know what I mean? But because we coming from there, like, even our jokes, you know what I'm saying? Like, the things we think is funny, like, people don't be, you know what I mean? Like, that stuff ain't funny to people, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so I did notice that, like, I was like, damn, hold on, I gotta sit back. Just like, you get transferred to a new spot, I gotta sit back and see what's really going on out this joint, man. Cause we not, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm not the type to try to act like
Yeah,
we, if we not, we not. Like, it just is
yeah,
what it is. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So yeah. And I still, you know, me being by myself don't really help that none, but I'm not, I'm aware of a lot of stuff that's going on in society, but certain stuff I just choose not to partake in. It just ain't, I'm not with it. You know what I'm saying?
I can definitely relate. I'm here in Atlanta. The nightlife, people in Atlanta, that's what they're known for, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, other things. And
You're funny.
right, and then I go around that. I was talking about the entrepreneurial spirit.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's real big down there. Real
But
big.
no, people say all types of stuff about Atlanta. But I remember venturing out. I had kind of got into the mode. I was like, all right, I'm gonna try going to the, the lounges or whatever. Man, I never felt more out of place.
Yeah, yeah,
You know what I'm saying? I never felt more out of place. Everything was forced. And it just felt like um I don't know, I just felt like I was trying to put myself, like what they say, a square peg in a round hole, or what
hmm
and I just, I tried and tried and tried, and I felt like I was like, nah, I don't belong here. There's no way. There's no way
yeah.
I need to. And I told what I'm saying, I just remember, I don't know. It's just let me go to this. Matter of fact, let me go to this, because this is one of the questions that was asked to me, and I'm all over the
Okay,
place. But
that's all good. That's all good.
we, we still got some time. Hardest moment, hands down, being home, or have you had any moments where maybe regret? Maybe you didn't. Maybe you're at peace with the 12 or the 11 or some change. Any moments where it hit you like, dang, I missed all this opportunity. My life could have been different. I could have. Any moments like that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I want to tell you this too, like, you know how I am, you know what type of man I am. You got different beliefs than I got. It's
Mm.
obvious. But being Muslim and coming home with a foundation, principles, things that we do don't do, and like this, and having knowledge of certain things put me at ease with stuff like that. Because at the
Mm.
end of the day, me going to jail was something that was decreed to happen. It wasn't no getting around that. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Like, at least I had a date. So even
Yeah.
though it was things that I look back, I'll be like, man, but at the same token, imagine had I not, who's to say I would have lived? You know what I mean? Who knows? Um, but I don't regret nothing. You know what I mean? Like, it's a shame that I had to go to jail, but I don't regret nothing. You know what I mean? Like, I'm ashamed of, some of the things that I used to partake in, but I can't take that stuff back. You know what I'm saying? Like, I did try to make
Yeah.
amends with certain stuff. You know what I mean? Like, yo, man, you know, I lost my grandmother while I was in there. You know what I'm saying? Like, you mean like that was my dog, bro? Like, man,
Yeah.
boy. You know what I mean?
Let me ask you, because I lost my grandmother, man. I lost some people, right?
That
How
hurt,
did you?
bro.
Yeah. But how did you cope with those moments? Because at least if it's not immediate family, you're not going to the funeral. From what I heard, from what I
Yeah, that's
know.
that's that's a fact. They ain't letting you, not in
Um.
Virginia.
Yeah, and then even if it is immediate family, if it's too far away or whatever, you're not going. So how did is there were you able to find peace in that situation? Were you able to cope? Or how were you able to cope? Or is that just day to day, or where you at with that? Because I
I
think that's
mean,
one of the hardest things I had to face when I was locked up.
yeah, yeah. I it did hurt me that I wasn't there to be there. I had to spend jail my grandmother's last years of her life in prison. But again, going back to the beliefs, that's something that was decreed to happen exactly the way that it happened. So, like, it hurt. And I still, to this day, you see on my TikTok page, that's her. That's my
Yep.
grandmother. You know what I'm saying? Like, it still hurts. That was
Right.
you know what I mean? Like, my grandmother was a very, very prominent part of my life growing up. Like, all stages, all the way up until she
Yep.
passed. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it hurt. And you know what I mean? That's just something that I look at each situation for what it really is. That's a lesson for everything that goes after the fact. Don't forget it. Don't
Mhm.
forget it so you don't have to go through that again. You get what I'm saying? Like, and if I
That's
could share my story with somebody else, you know what I mean, to get them to stop and think for 1 second. You mean like you gotta, you know what I mean? Like you gotta think about this stuff. You can't cry about it after the fact. You can't.
That's why. That's why I asked you, and that's why I wanted you on that. Hopefully, whoever's watching that, they get that point. You know, I heard a couple things, but one, if you get locked up, that might be you might not ever get to spend another free moment in your life with that person that you saying goodbye to while you're going to prison.
Who
Two,
said you
tomorrow,
ever get out?
yeah,
Might not never
and
come home.
I think, to go back to what you were saying too, as far as it being the creed. I was doing an interview earlier, and that's what something I spoke on. I said, "Hey, I said without a doubt, I said if I didn't go through that, I wouldn't be here."
Yeah. That
And
yo.
it had my mother said, uh, "Prison saved you. I
Wow.
don't have to worry about when I hear the sirens if that's you, if that's an ambulance picking you up."
Wow.
So
That's
it's
deep,
weird.
bro.
Seven Powers says, "I lost my mother last year, and it was my understanding that helped me cope with it." My condolences, man. Our condolences.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
hey, losing a loved one, losing a mom, you know what I'm saying? Losing, anybody close to you is hard. And I think you hit it on the head. Understanding, for me, is coming to peace, coming to terms, coming to grips with it in whatever way. That's gonna allow you to move forward because you got to keep going. You can't
Got
stop.
to. Yeah, you
Yeah,
got to.
things happen. And that's it. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, things happen, but you got to keep going. That's how you honor them. That's how you continue to live out the lessons that they might have taught you. You know, that's how you make sure their legacy is still, moving and grooving, man. I was told that your legacy, or you don't stop existing until you're truly forgotten. So keep going, man. And salute to you. I wanted to ask you this real quick, Sabir.
Talk to me,
What
brother.
what are if there was one thing you can tell one of these youngins, and I'm gonna say specifically in the urban communities right now. It's happening everywhere, but I live in Atlanta. I'm from Chicago. You drive through everywhere. We see it in the news all the time. Guys
Yeah.
shoots a guy. We see it in the rap, the rap game. All these young rappers are killing each other left and right or getting killed. Excuse me. What is, what I'm saying? What is something you would tell them? As far as the lifestyle they're living, should the scam and chasing money, whatever it is, like just out there in the streets.
It's a trick. It's a trick. Like I remember, I'm gonna tell you two things to answer your question. I remember my brother. My brother's 2 years younger than me. He's very, very intelligent. He's a social worker, right? My brother told me there was a time frame when he stopped talking to me. Right? He had the same phone number since for over 20 years. Not picking up. So I'm like, damn, what's up with that? So he finally shoot me a kite and let me know why he wasn't talking to me. He told me that he was not just he was mad at me for getting locked up, but also too, he was disappointed in me because he said, man, you allowed yourself, my brother's he's a very intellectual dude. You allowed yourself to become a statistic and get caught up in a trick. You know what I mean? Um, it ain't gonna hit you. This is the thing that it really used to bother me, man, because like when you in there, like I said earlier, the trend is you come in young and you leave with gray hairs, right? For me, prison made me face me in the mirror, right? Who are you? What really means the most to you? Um, what type of man do you want to be? What type of legacy do you want to leave? Et cetera, et cetera. When you in there, you get treated like a dog. Literally, that's how I felt. I remember the last shakedown we had. Man, I was so mad, bro. I'm talking about I had to refrain from, snapping. I'm getting ready to get out. this is my last one. It's like just get through it. It's your last one. I feel like a
Right.
dog. I
I
hate it
remember.
every day. I hated every day of being in there. Every day, literally. I never expressed it, but in my mind, I don't like this. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? This ain't nothing to be liked. I was in a part of Greensville. I didn't know it when I first came in there, but it was a lifer block, lifer pod, right? A lot of the guys in there had life sentences. I come to find out, or 40, 50, 60. It's not going to hit you the first couple years when you in the jail. You know what I mean? Like, you know, all your homeboys in there, you familiar with everything in here. You go to prison, you ain't familiar with everybody. You ain't in your neighborhood no more, right?
No.
Don't nobody know about your what you done did and who you is. They don't care because this dudes is in there to go just as hard or harder. After you get your time, and let's say you got a football number, 40, 50, whatever, you start seeing your people's going home. It's going to hit you then.
Oh yeah.
Like, hey, hold up. I ain't know. Man, I got 40 more years to do. I'm
Yeah.
20 now. You know what I mean?
You
That's
know
when it's
what? You know what's ill to me is because I was on Sussex, I was on Greensville, and I'm around guys that got life sentences and they're not fighting for their freedom. They just going to the yard, they working out. I'm not saying everybody's like that, but the law library is never packed.
oh yeah,
There's always old
absolutely
people
not.
library, and it should never be. There should be a waiting list. It should be wrapped around, out the prison door. But
I absolutely agree with you.
it's the craziest thing. I don't know what that is. I don't know. I don't know what it is. But when it's ill, when you see a bunch of lifers, a bunch of people with life sentences, they've given up. They're not fighting. They're not. They're not. They're not even attempting to raise any type of money for a lawyer. Every now and then you might have one, but
Yeah, yeah.
why do you think that is? And do
It's
you
the
see that out
mindset, bro.
there?
It's the mindset, bro. Like a lot of, and I'm trying not to be offensive, like, but I'm trying to
Right?
be honest.
Of
You know what I'm
course.
saying? And I'm not trying to brag neither. But
We talking though.
going in there made me realize how strong mentally I was.
Mm-hmm.
Because I seen a lot of stuff that was weak in reality as far as the mindset.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, hey man, this dude go out there and lift all this weight, strong as a mug. But mentally you're not strong, you're weak. You know what I'm
Man.
saying? And man, that joint is kind of wild. Like, you know what I mean? I remember one, I'll never forget this, bro. I remember one time I had to do this. I ain't gonna put dude out there. He's known to be a dangerous guy. Right?
He's
I'm gonna just say
known to
that.
be
You know what I
proud.
mean? I ain't gonna put him out there though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But mentally, he physically strong and he turned up. He put some work in. But mentally he wasn't strong at all. And it surprised me how much he leaned on me to get insight or even guidance on certain things. I'm like, this dude older than me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't even got it all figured out. I'm like 28, 20, whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Surprised. You know what I mean? But I think it's more the mindset, man. Like, you gotta have that fight, man. Self-pres, you know what I mean? Like, you gotta, it ain't in
It's
everybody, bro.
it's crazy. It's just weird, man, when people concede and just kind of accept. And I don't. I remember a guy, and I'm same thing. I'm not gonna mention name, but I used to look at him. I didn't know similar. I'm in a pod. I'm at Sussex. This is before they kind of separated you by time.
Mm.
And this guy would work out. He was in the kitchen. He had a heck of a hustle game. Played poker. It was big bro. And then I found out he had a life or 100 and some years, life sentence. And I never seen him in the law library. It's not my level of respect, but it was almost like watching one of your heroes, not live up to,
Full
expectations. And
potential. Yeah,
saying
absolutely.
he's a hero, but I'm just trying to make it make sense, man. Um, Seven Power says some of them have accepted the fact that they don't belong on the street anymore. That's a good. That's
Whoa.
that's a good piece, Seven. That's a
Whoa.
good, and I can go for that too because there are people that say, you know what, I don't want to function in society. I can't. or I don't want, I just choose not to.
Yeah,
I've been in here long, or it's easier here.
yeah.
There are some people that move like that.
I do want to say this too, like
Hmm.
out of 84 men, excluding myself, that I found out most of them guys had life sentences. I asked them because at this time I've been in there a year, so I got rapport with almost everybody in the block.
Right.
Majority of them said they wouldn't have did what they did to over again if they had the opportunity to do it. You know what I mean?
They,
And a lot of them regretted it. You're not gonna tell everybody that, but they told me that though. You get what
yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
Facts. Facts.
Well, it's hard for me, although I gotta agree with Seven Power said. I know there's gonna be a small percentage of guys gave up, but no, they ready to go. They don't want to be there. They
Oh
had the
no.
opportunity. Real quick, man, getting ready to close. Want to ask you this:
Talk to
one message, one message to the world. Something you want people to know about incarcerated people or formerly incarcerated people. It could be a myth you want to debunk. It could be something that just needs to be heard. Anything along the lines of that.
we deserve a second chance. When is you know what I mean? Like what society says is rehabilitation, it's not rehabilitation. You stick us in there, you give us second, even third class everything, food, uh, books, you know what I mean? You withhold things from us. It's kind of like it's kind of like giving somebody a house without a roof. You know what I mean? And you put somebody out, you know what I mean? And you got a lot of guys, and I'm talking about people that I've met personally, including this man right here. It's a lot of guys who ain't in there drinking and smoking and doing all that other in the way mess, that goes on in the penitentiary. That's in there building their minds up and building their bodies up, and they're putting business plans together. And I've actually seen these guys. That's the one benefit, and one of my main reasons why I still am on social media, because it gave me the opportunity to be able to keep up with everybody in one
Yeah.
app. You know what I mean? I can see each individual.
Yeah.
Sometimes we, man, we develop ourselves so much in that joint, man. Like I literally used to walk around the boulevard, man. It ain't nothing them people could have did to me to have me hang my head down. I kept my head up high all the time. I don't care what I had on, none of that, because you didn't define who I am. I define who I am. The circumstances don't dictate this, and it don't dictate this. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
a lot of real men in there who want to come home and want to be fathers, want to be husbands. I'm not saying everybody's the same, but
Yeah.
we go in there for the punishment, and we still get punished when we come home. When is enough enough? You know what I mean? Like everybody is not coming home to get in the way or go right back. You know what I mean? We out here trying to do the right thing, literally, genuinely. You know what I mean?
No
Don't make
doubt.
it hard, man. We already got a house with no roof, with fellas.
It's raining. It's raining on our heads, Harpo.
Come on,
Hey,
man.
hey, man. So we're gonna have you back up here. We definitely gonna touch on some more stuff, extended conversation. Anybody that's watching this content is always so appreciative. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. More lives coming soon. Shout out to Alexander Denny. Big interviews getting chopped up and posted soon on the way. Shout out to 23 and lockdown. Lockdown 23 and 1. Shout out to Sabir, even Henry. Ibn Henry for hopping up here, man, being a part of the conversation. We just two guys that did some time with a real story,
That's it.
trying to narrative, trying to wake some people up. Shout out to everybody that's been up here, everybody that's already scheduled to get up here. We got a list growing, so definitely excited about that. Having real conversations with real people, man. Sabir,
Absolutely.
say the good people before we sign off.
Yeah, man. Hey, man. You know what I mean? I appreciate you bringing me up, man. you know, I gotta salute you, man, for getting this thing started, man. It's a real good look. Um, exposing some positivity was from a world or realm where the people consider to be negativity. You know what I mean? Like everybody not the same, man. You know, this is for you. You've been doing this while we were still on the inside. Now you got a phone in, you know what
Hey,
I mean?
I'm,
Willis
I'm,
community.
hey, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. As much as I don't want to admit it, man, some of that stuff it did in some weird way. It prepared. You can learn from the bad. You know what I'm saying?
One
It,
thing, man, in life, man, I'm gonna tell you this, brother. Everything ain't for everybody, but certain things is for certain people. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
indeed, man. Hey, and some missions you don't sign up for. You,
It's an
you wake,
assignment, man.
yeah, you
It's an
wake up.
assignment, brother.
There you go. That's the word of the day. There is a
Yeah,
difference. That's
yeah.
a whole. But we can do a whole time, a whole hour on the word assignment. Hey,
Shout out to Freddie and Ghost too, man. I've been
yeah, and
texting you too, Freddie, man. You ain't hit me back yet.
man, Freddie Austin, man, you got to
That's
send a carrier pigeon, man. Hey, but
hilarious.
my big bro Freddie Williams, he's about to get. He's actually getting ready to get back up here too, man. So
Good
shout
dude,
out,
man.
shout out to everybody. What we just had, Eugene Strong, man. Tomorrow, matter of fact, y'all tune in tomorrow at 6 p.m. live. Let me not forget tomorrow 6 p.m. live. Zoe Taylor, writer, director, producer of the show Juicy, on Tubi. You can check it out now. It's fire. And also published author. So yeah, she's from up top. She's a New York girl. She's gonna be up here talking about the hustle. Man. But whoever wrote, I don't know what whoever wrote How to Get Away with Murder on ABC better watch out because she fired. She got
Ah,
the show
no doubt,
fired.
no doubt.
Anyways, this is D100 TV. That's my brother Sabir. We'll be back. Man, I'm gonna be back. He gonna be back. We'll be back. Keep grinding. Don't give up. Consistency is king. Discipline should go hand in hand. And man, hey, embrace the haters. They should be your biggest fans for real. And
Ah,
no matter no matter what, don't ever underestimate your value, man. You priceless in somebody's eyes, man.
that's a fact.
Um, till next time, let's keep pushing the narrative, creating content that matters. D100 TV, we out.
Peace.